Jess, you are wearing what this morning?
I'm wearing a Her Game 2 jersey, but the main point is that it's a black jersey because, as everybody that maybe follows me knows, that tomorrow is Black Saturday for Reading FC, and we are dressed for a soccer funeral, which is heartbreaking to say. But unless this club finds someone to buy them and find someone to turn the tide, then it's only heading one way at the moment. Progress is being made since our last conversation, John, but it's getting squeaky bum time, if I can say it a little with a bit of a smile on my face to try and cheer me up.
Well, and that was why you wore black this morning, and I decided to break out my Scunthorpe pullover because, as someone who is a member of their trust, I talked about their situation yesterday, where they're now in the 6th division. Their current owner, who picked them up in January, is like, "Nah, I'm done." The team is like, "Okay, well then we're going to leave playing in this place. We're going to go play someplace else." The team that's in charge of that someplace else is like, "Well, you kind of need to talk to us about that first." And so after the 7th of October, they're going to be looking for a place to play. They need a new owner. And there are 4 letters that Scunthorpe and no team wants to see in British football: HMRC. And those are appearing with Scunthorpe as well. They have a winding up petition coming up in short order. So it could be some bad-ish going on at Scunthorpe. And Reading, you and I talked about it a lot, and it sucks. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It sucks for the fans. It sucks for those that have been a part of it for you and your family as long as you have. And there's. I also read that there's the possibility of another points deduction. Did I see that too?
So I think they've successfully been able to pay the wage bill this month. So it is great news. However, how crazy that it is news that the staff and the players are going to get paid correctly. That is just completely insane that is headline news for Reading FC right now. Listen, John, it's really sad because I think when we talked about Berry a few years back, you kind of just say, oh, we're really sad. Hopefully it never happens to my club. You never think it's going to happen to your club. And unfortunately, right now it is happening to my club. And, as someone that's played for the women's team, that's been a part of it, has played in the Medeski Stadium, now SCL, obviously, it's crazy to think that might cease to exist one day. And right now, I think the fans are doing everything possible. And, they've seen the news. I think it's amazing to see The Athletic writing a sensitive article. They've got MP support now. People are really making headlines as of now, but is that enough? Not yet, unfortunately. You have to get the financial backing to change it, and you have to find someone to be able to displace Dye, and he just doesn't seem to give two F's, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and I know that we'll all be keeping an eye on all of that stuff. I know that there was a full dossier with you. My first question is, how long do we have you as one of the busiest people in show business?
Let's go with 15 more minutes.
All right.
My dad is in town, so I do have to spend a little bit of time with my father before he heads out. He has been making many a commute to Charlotte with me, but he is getting the experience to be in the booth, so that is pretty cool.
That is very cool. All right, so we've got college to look at. We've got Major League Soccer to look at, specifically from 30,000 feet. We've got your situation going on in Charlotte. We've got what's going on here in Atlanta. Let's start with college, considering that 2 of the busiest people in show business called a match last night. Mercer and Wofford, I believe, in SoCon. As you've been able to do Clayton State and Mercer, what are some of your early thoughts when it comes to the college game so far this year? And GGC, where you got to do some stuff on sideline and talk to people with a microphone. What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just ending up all over the Southeast doing college games. So it's super exciting to see it across all the levels. As everyone knows, someone that benefited so much from the college system, no student debt, really lovely to get that full ride and get to play at the level and, get an education as well. It's so important to still see that college soccer has a place. I know that we've talked a little bit about the pathway to pro now and how it's changing with academies. But what I love to see is that there's still a place for college soccer to thrive and to build professionals. And there's still going to be players that are able to make that jump from the college system if they weren't able to go pro early. You look at Duncan Maguire with Orlando City and what he's done. You look at Patrick Agyman with Charlotte FC and the steps that he's made. And the more I watch Clayton State, you're looking at some of these guys thinking, wow, I think they can make the jump to the next level. And it's also important. What I love about what I do is I see Division One, I see Division Two, I see NAIA, and listen, there is quality players and quality talent across all those decisions. I think sometimes we get so hooked up in America on the D1 title or the SEC conference. And yes, of course, high quality players attracting the best, but there's a lot of players that choose to go to other colleges for other reasons, whether it be eligibility, whether it be location, whether it be scholarship. You can still find incredible players at all levels of the game. So I've loved it. Yesterday was awesome calling the game with Jason. I did play-by-play, he did color. So it was nice to be able to bounce that off Jason. And I'm going to drop some hot news, John, since it's always nice to share with my favorites. I will be doing a game on the SEC network on October 8th. So that's going to be a lot of exciting. Get to call that one remotely out of the ESPN studios. That one is Kentucky versus Vanderbilt on the women's side. So that is going to be a lot of fun. A little bit nervous about that, but great to make my SECN network debut. Hey, I get.
There you go. There's your breaking news sounder. Jess on the SEC network. That's very cool. And obviously those of us here, we know you'll crush it. So no doubts on our end about anything that is going on in the world of Jessica Charman. Very, very cool, because yes, in the SEC it just means more. We know this exists.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that you'll be able to switch on the television and you might hear my voice breaking down some soccer. You know, I love radio. Everyone knows I'm so passionate about radio, but to do some TV isn't a bad thing.
All right, so then let me ask you this: since you've seen the sport on a bunch of different levels, give me, and I know that probably you could start with Clayton State, who are some of those talented individuals that aren't right there, like that are SEC, Power 5 conference quality, that you really could see making the jump, and that some general managers and technical directors and coaches in League One, in USL Championship, overseas and lower divisions, who are some of the players that have been in your spot shadow that you want to sit there and point at and go, look, take a look at this person. They're really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably seen him with UPSL and also with I'm trying to think of the league now, but Gio Rios obviously is an incredible talent. Wears the number 10 jersey for Clayton State, breaking every single record possible when it comes to the Lakers. I'll be honest with Gio, he did get the extra COVID year, so kind of a little bit unfair with all these records being broken when you get a whole extra season. And I don't think he'll mind me saying that, but Giovanni Rios is a quality player. I know that Jared is a big fan of his from his time with Apotheos, so that is great for him. There's also a guy called Alexis Aturia that plays for Clayton State as well. He played in the 7v7 tournament with Clint Dempsey's team and scored a goal. He was the guy that they didn't know who it was that scored a goal because he wasn't on the roster in the same way for the commentators. But I knew who that was because Alexi is incredible. Anyone that follows me on Instagram will have seen the goal that he scored on Wednesday. It was absolutely brilliant, his finish. So those guys, just two to name a few, are incredible players. But we've seen it with, and we were talking about players that made the jump. I mean, look at Karim Tamimi. Atlanta United 2 fans will know that name. And I was singing Karim's praises. I'm not trying to say I knew before, but let's be honest, I was singing Karim's praises for a long time before Atlanta United picked him up. And, I love now with MLS Next Pro growing, because you mentioned USL Championship, you mentioned USL League One, but there is so many opportunities to make that jump to the next level. And that is the ultimate mark of the growth of soccer in the US, where there is all of these leagues where players can make, the step into the professional game. And I don't want to come across as a Euro snob, John, because that's something that I'm very passionate about not doing. But the more you make it mirror a league that is so successful, like the English Premier League, with your reserve teams, with, Championship, League One, having different pathways to pro and different ways to get into professional soccer and become full-time, that can only be a good thing for the growth of the game in the US.
All right, since you went there, let's talk MLS Next Pro. Crown Legacy, number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, playoffs coming up. They get to kind of watch everybody else pick a partner and do their own.
What do you think of that, John? I'm gonna switch the tables. What do you think of this whole pick your opponent thing?
I'm an old FUD. If you're two, if you're 2, you play 8. If you're 3, you play 7. Or 3, 2, 7.
Yeah. Best should play worst and vice versa.
Yeah. But the key is reseed after each matchup. Don't just sit there.
Yes. Then force the bracket.
Yeah, if the 5 wins and the 7 wins, reseed everybody. Don't just sit there and it's like, yeah, okay, that's your pathway. reseed so that way top seed plays lowest remaining and so on. Don't just sit there and have
that way it's a true reward for finishing top.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, MLS Next Pro has been a really cool window to try out different things. Like, people won't believe I'm saying this, but I bloody love the penalty shootouts at the end. I think it's like, maybe that's the sign of me being in America for 10 years, that I really love the fact.
But if you really were an American, you'd love the 35-yard run up.
Oh, no, I want that. Oh, all day, every day of the week. I 100% want the dribble up American style penalties, as we call them. I loved those as a kid when I played in tournaments, because I was, as we know, I had the nickname Madcat for a reason, because I was pouncing at everybody's feet. So I absolutely love it. I like this comment too, John, talking about my Goalie Wars championship with Isaac Walker. I mean, need I say more? I sacrificed myself for him to thrive, you know?
You need the belt behind you there, Jess.
I need a picture with the belt. Honestly, if Isaac Walker, and he follows me on Instagram, so I may have to send him this video, Isaac needs to give me a little bit more credit. Like, I deserve a bit of a shout out, because that throw was developed against me, and it was very good for my ego to see that so many pros struggle with a throw. Even the guy that was named goalkeeper of the year for Crown Legacy, for MLS Next Pro, the Austin goalkeeper, Damian Lass, I mean, couldn't handle the throw of Isaac Walker. Nobody could.
Yep. So then how does Charlotte improve consistency? Is rotating the key positions like keeper? Charlotte's got a lot of options. So how does Charlotte improve consistency?
Yeah, it's a really tough one, right? Because I do think they've been marred with injuries, and that has been an issue. And defensively, they've had the worst record in the league for a very long time, conceding a lot of goals. I don't think rotating is the option for that. Actually, I think it's the opposite. For me, playing as a goalkeeper, I wanted the same back line in front of me week in, week out, because you build that chemistry, you build that camaraderie, you build that understanding of each other. Unfortunately, Charlotte hasn't been able to do that, because they've had different fullbacks, different centre backs, injuries, whether it's selection, injuries, individual decision from the manager. So there hasn't been that chemistry. But right now, honestly, when you look at the biggest issues for Charlotte, it's creating goal scoring opportunities. Obviously, when you have a stat like conceding over 40 goals in a season, you're going to look at the defense. But last time out against FC Cincinnati, we didn't record a single shot on target, not a single shot on target. That is a huge issue when you've got two designated players playing on the pitch together. So for me, it's not putting games to bed. 23 points dropped from winning positions this year for Charlotte FC. It's the most in the league by a country mile. That's the biggest issue right now, not putting games to bed and not having the game management at the end of the games. Because if you even get half of those points, you're comfortably in the playoffs, instead of sitting outside looking in right now. And listen, there's definitely still a chance. It's a difficult chance, yeah, but absolutely needing to get a chance to, you can't give up anything else now. Otherwise, it's game over. And you've got 2 games at the end of the season against Inter Miami. We don't know the Messi situation with that. So, that's fascinating too. That's a whole nother kettle of fish, right? Leo Messi and what's going on with him.
All right, Burton Albion and Reading is this weekend. So for folks who are on this side of the pond, I know you'll be keeping an eye on this one. It's an early, almost relegation 6-pointer situation.
No, stop. Don't say the R word. That's so rude, John. So rude.
Right now, it's an important one for you, because Burton Albion is above the line. You're a point behind them. What are you anticipating in this one? And for those that want to be drifting in and will be watching the situation as to why everyone's in black and all this kind of stuff, what are you anticipating with this particular match this weekend, as everybody is going to be looking at things on the field and off?
Yeah, it's about finding that balance, right? Because you want the on the pitch result, but at the end of the day, how much does an on the pitch result matter if your club is going to go into an administration and cease to exist? So I know there's some Reading FC fans that are worried about the in-game protests, that are worried that it's a distraction. There was one news article that came out saying that the manager asked for the fans to find a way to protest that doesn't affect the run of play. Not sure how accurate that is. It's come from a music station, and we had a press conference with Ruben Sellers just yesterday, and that wasn't mentioned to all the other journalists. If he has said that, I'm sorry, Ruben. I have a lot of respect for a manager that takes over a team that is such a shit show as Reading FC right now.
There you go.
He has really, endeared himself to me. And I think that he's an exciting manager, and the style of players is very exciting. But the club's future matters more than one result, right? It absolutely matters more. So I say to the fans, protest in whatever way you've set up and organized, whether it's throwing tennis balls in to the field in the 16th minute because 16 points is what we've lost over the last 2 years, whether it's wearing the black, whether it's yelling, you know, we want Die out, whether it's stand up if you hate Die Young, whatever we're doing. Sorry, Ruben, I have the utmost respect for you and the players, but surely if you are not getting paid on time, if you are worried about where your next paycheck is coming from, deep down you want to support these fans that have loved this club their whole life and are doing everything they can. As we say, support the team, not the regime. It's not a snide to the players. And at the end of the day, as a professional football player, you've got to handle business. And if it's too distracting for you for the game to be paused for a couple of minutes at a time, then what does that say about you as a player? And that's not meant to be a dig, but you've got to be able to stay focused in big moments in matches.
Yeah, I know the fourth is holding up the sign. I know that you've got to go. Charlotte and the Revs this weekend. What do you think?
Listen, the Revs is another shit show right now, right? Like, let's be honest, they're going through a lot of changes, a lot of disruption, a lot of difficulties right now. So it's a good time to play them. I think it's a team for Charlotte that is coming off a really bad result against FC Cincinnati, and I'm hoping that they're able to bounce it back. I've been a part of Charlotte sports for 2 years now, and everyone's telling me the most Charlotte thing in the world would be to keep the hopes high, pick up wins now, and then maybe at the last hurdle find it difficult or have someone upset the party. It's a must-win game. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely a must-win game for Charlotte FC. I just want to see goals, honestly. After not recording a shot on target for an entire match, you just want to see the attack click together. Really big matchup for the crown. So excited to call it alongside my buddy Willie P. And maybe we'll get him to go into Mickey Mouse mode with a couple of goal calls this weekend.
WFNZ and the Odyssey app. Jess, as always, golden ticket holder Jessica Charman. She knows she can crash it at any time. Go spend time with your dad.
Yes. Andy needs a little bit of attention. We're going to go shopping. So fingers crossed he is still taking care of me.
There you go. All right. Be well, Jess.
All right.
Crash anytime.
Take care. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.